Hey, this is the Well Advice channel. What I want to talk about today is a topic that you hear about in the Black community all the time, and it's a very controversial topic, and so on and so forth. That you hear about nonstop. And for this video, I will discuss the reason why this is happening without giving a BS opinion, or a biased opinion, whatever you like to say. So you will know exactly why this issue is so big, as you can see from the title, what this video is called. So anyway, you'll get a good straightforward answer, even if you're not too familiar with the subject. So just watch, and you'll know why. Anyway, let's get started. So what I want to talk about today is, why do Black businesses fail? Now, when it comes to businesses in general, let's get started with obviously the basic number one question. The biggest thing that defines a business, which is, there's two main types of businesses out there. Okay, there's sedentary businesses, where you have a place, a certain place of operation, or you have a business that's non-sedentary. Okay, where you actually go to the location the person is actually staying at. Okay, those are the two main types of businesses that obviously exist, such as you might have a business that sells food and products and stuff like that, or like hair supplies and this and that, for a sedentary business. For a non-sedentary business, you drive places like to fix people's houses, for example. Another one could be, not just fixing people's houses, but of course doing other things like that, where you go and sell some stuff to people, and so on and so forth. Those are two main types of businesses. So when it comes to those two main types of businesses, I'm going to explain exactly the reason why, using facts, why those two types of businesses in the Black community fail universally. So when it comes to answering that question, the simple answer to that question, for the few points I want to make for this video, the first one, obviously, that is a big one that everyone has consistently noticed, is simply overpricing things. So when it comes to overpricing things, this is the very biggest one, that obviously that is a big issue. Okay, people overprice things. You go to a store, while a Chinese person's like selling a pack of gum for like $1 or $2, you go to a Black store, they're selling it for like $5, $6. Okay, now when it comes to things like, obviously, the price of things, you have to know how to price match. You have to learn how to buy things at a reasonable price and be able to sell it at a good price in order for people to buy it. Okay. Now, this one, is something that obviously you can figure out and doing stuff. And obviously, through, of course, doing that stuff, you will obviously be able to start seeing results, and of course start taking things to another level. And some of the things that they obviously do, once you get past like topics like supply and demand, they clearly could do better. Just like a restaurant, when you create a restaurant and you have your own food, you are way more able to, you know sell things at a reasonable price. But a lot of Black business, even when it comes to something like food, they sell their food at very expensive prices, and it's like, this is getting ridiculous here. And obviously, food places are, well, Black businesses. So, truth be told, a lot of Black businesses fail because they sell their stuff at too high of a price. And that's the first reason why Black businesses fail so universally, is selling it at an extreme price and not learning how to understand how to compete and sell things at a more reasonable price. So that's the first one. Okay. The second one, that also is a very good one, aside from the one you hear all the time about rude attitudes and stuff you hear from some of the workers there, and stuff like that. The second one, that's also a big one, is showing up late to things. Now, when it comes to this one is definitely a very big one, and of course relates more to non-sedentary businesses, like businesses that tend to go around places, whether it could be a repo, or let's just say like a home development person. Like, let's just say you need a carpenter to fix your house or something. That is an example of a non-sedentary business. Another one could obviously be any profession that's non sedentary business, or this and that. Like, you might have someone who wants to clean up your pool, if you have a pool, or just whatever you can imagine, which of course a lot of businesses are non-sanitary businesses. It can even be things like obviously roofing and so on and so forth, all that type of stuff. The simple truth of the matter is a lot of black people, when they show up places, they show up an hour late. And sometimes that's if you're lucky. You know, the truth of the matter, black businesses are notorious, particularly the non-sanitary ones, for showing up late. While other communities of people might show up late, white people tend to show up late too, but they're going to show up like 5, 10, 15, 10 to 20 minutes late, maximum. Black people, when they show up late, they're showing up like an hour and 30 minutes late plus. Okay? And that's the truth about a lot of black businesses. They show up late all the time, which, of course, especially if you want to support them and you're seeing this shit happen all the time, you're eventually going to kind of get annoyed and tired of it and sick of it and irritated of it. And that's another reason why black businesses do so bad. They keep on showing up late to everything. You say, okay, I want you to show up at this time. They'll show up a lot later, and then they come in and they want to have a discussion and talk about this and that. But what does that have to do with what you're doing? Just freaking show up on time. Okay? Showing up like 10, 20 minutes early, there's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong with showing up on time to something? Showing up early is the best way to show up on time, you know? And that's what I'm trying to say though. You want to obviously make sure you stand out. And that's the reason why people don't rely on black business, because they have these practices that turn people the hell off. Okay? Like if you're gonna do something like that, okay, why the hell do I want to hire you? Why not just hire this Asian person who I know is gonna show up, if anything, 30 minutes early, so we can get this stuff over and done with and move on with our day? Versus a black person who's gonna show up an hour plus late. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's the second biggest reason why black business fail so often. Okay. So that's the second main reason why they fail so often. Now the third and last one, that obviously that also is a very good one and a very good point, is simply due to the fact that they're just simply not they're simply not organized. Okay, like black businesses are notoriously unorganized, which I'm certain you've heard a million times. They're extremely unorganized usually. Like if you tell them, if you go to a place, especially for the sedentary business, like you go to the place themselves, you ask them for something, they're nowhere to be seen, or it might be a catering business where like they're setting up parties and all that type of stuff for people and this and that. And you go to a place and it's all over the place. They don't have this certain thing. They want you to wait and this and that. For something to come when it's supposed to be like a wedding or something you're catering for. They are notorious for being horribly organized and being all over the place, doing everything last minute. And that's exactly the third and last point to go alongside of it. And also even just simply down to a bad freaking attitude, which a lot of it, which is not really the third point, but is an extra, just a bad attitude in stuff. Instead of just simply being nice and polite to your people. Anyone can do that, but a lot of them don't, and that's what turns people off. But of course, going back to the third point, it's just lack of organization. If you say you're going to do something, you need to make sure that you have a plan. You have a plan weeks in advance, and you have to be thinking about it consistently so everything works out, everything's goes to plan as much as humanly possible. Instead of it not going to plan, and then everyone just runs around and says, "Oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do." A lot of black businesses do that, and that's the reason why black businesses don't fail. So it's not all the time to simply deal with racism and this and that. It's simply just down to ignorance. Not all the time you can just blame white people and say, "Oh, it's white people's fault for everything." Sometimes it's actually people in our own community's fault. Okay. So anyway, for anyone who wanted to know this answer to this question, I gave you an answer to this question. I hope you were well informed. And if people simply were to not do these things, a lot of the things that are happening would not be happening, in all honesty, when it comes to the state of poverty in our community. And these are simple facts. So anyway, this is my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, if you like this video and videos like this, thumbs this video up and the subscribe button. And that's all I have to say, and simply put it, later.